Our LV Game of the Week was concluded with a day to spare, but Essex made hard work of a 5-wicket win against Gloucestershire in Bristol. The visitors could not have started any better, however. Ian Cobain out to the very first delivery of what turned out to be the last morning. That left Gloucestershire on 126 for 4, still 77 runs away from making Essex bat a second time in this match. And the thoughts for many in the ground was that this game would be wrapped up fairly quickly. Gloucestershire paying for their first innings batting efforts when they were dismissed for 116 before following on. With Michael Klinger once again batting well against this opposition this year, the home team did a lot better second time out. Klinger, who began this day on 62, was soon moving inevitably towards his third 100 against Essex this summer, having already hit 2 against them in the T20. That duly arrived with his 13th boundary from his 185th delivery. The Australian was in top form down under in the winter, and he's carried that into this English summer with a little break in between to spend time with his family. He's fast becoming one of the stars of this domestic season with the bat. He dominated a 6-wicket stand with Geraint Jones, but was out for 103, perhaps a momentary lapse in concentration, which saw him nick off to Ryan Ten-Doeschate, one of 9 bowlers employed by James Foster. Gloucestershire had done well to reduce the deficit to 8 runs at the fall of Klinger's wicket, and they appeared to be heading towards lunch in a much better place than they'd started this day, Jones and Benny Howell adding 26 more runs for the 6th wicket. Only for Jones on 37 to come down the wicket to take on Aaron Nijjar, the batsman unable to resist the slow bowler, but miss-hitting his shot to wide mid-on, where Graham Napier judged a tougher catch than it looks rather well. Foster certainly won the battle of the 2 captains there, as after 1 successful over, the spinner was removed from the attack and replaced by Napier, who trapped Jack Taylor in front for 5, meaning that the home team headed off for their dinner with a total reading 227 for 7 and the lead at only 24. It looked as if the spectators' sandwiches would have to be eaten fairly swiftly. There may not have even been time to finish off a pork pie, as the afternoon session soon had James Fuller heading back to the pavilion after edging Napier behind to give the bowler his 7th wicket of a fine match with the ball. Fuller departed for 3 at 231 for 8. As he left, he passed by England captain Alistair Cook, who'd taken to carrying the drinks during a comfort break. It was thankfully no more than that. Howell and Craig Miles had no thought of throwing in the towel just yet. Yes, their side were in a mess, these two coming together with the score effectively on 28 for 8, and with the weather set fair in the West Country. This is a largely youthful team, and many of the players in Gloucestershire colours just love playing this game. These two batted sensibly but played some terrific shots too to hold up an Essex side who were looking to make it back-to-back wins and to avenge a defeat to this opposition at home last month. These shots hardly had Essex in beady sweat territory, but it was a partnership which would have started to frustrate them a bit, especially as the runs were coming against a fairly new cricket ball. 71 were added in 16 overs before Miles on a fine 37 was well held in the covers by Matt Salisbury off Jesse Ryder. It was just the kind of fielding the visitors needed to stop this game suddenly slipping through their fingers. So it was now left to Howell to try to add as many runs as he could with last man Liam Norwell. This 6 off Ryder helping the total up to 316. Then with 48 runs to his name, Howell found Nick Brown in the deep and the innings was finally over midway through the afternoon. It meant that Essex had all the time they wanted to chase down 114 runs to win for the 3rd time this season. It also gave Cook a chance to have a bat for the final time in the first-class arena before the Ashes. But he edged his very first delivery to Chris Dent to give Fuller an early wicket. It was hardly what the batsman would have wanted, but such a thing will be far from his mind when he comes out to bat to face the likes of the Mitchells, Johnson and Stark in a little over a fortnight's time. Fuller was celebrating again soon afterwards when Brown nicked him behind after making 6. A few and a decent crowd in Bristol now started to believe that their side could perform a miracle. A few more siders were called for when Ravi Bopara also edged behind, this time off the bowling of Miles, the former England man on his way for 5 at 25 for 3. a total which became 26 for 4 when Tendescarter was trapped in front by Norwell in the next over. The bowler starting his spell with that wicket and a couple of maidens just to add some pressure to the visiting team. Surely they weren't going to lose it from here, were they? The main reason they didn't was the performance of Tom Westley. With each of these boundary fours, the building pressure was relieved a little. The batsman surrounded in this batting order by international players, but not looking as if he didn't belong in their company for a minute. It was a knock which just began to settle any nerves. But there were still 41 runs wanted when Foster gave Fuller his third wicket with an LBW. Essex were left on 73 for 5, and the chat around the ground became about what might have been had the home team just batted a little better in their first innings. It was that cost them ultimately, and Westley saw to that. His ninth four taking him to a 50 off 75 balls. All he needed now was just someone to stand at the other end to support him for a little while longer, and the job would be completed before too long. And indeed it was. Ryder and Westley both struck boundaries off a Norwell over. One finished off with this four from the Kiwi, which took Essex over the line for the loss of 5 wickets. Westley helping himself to an unbeaten 65 and Ryder a runnable 20. It was a little more nervy than it should have been, but Essex had done what they came to Bristol to do.
Yeah, good win, important win as well. You know, we've won quite a few T20s in the last month, and we won against Derby last week, so we're on a bit of a roll. So long may it continue.
Yeah, so confidence-wise, that's exactly what you need. Did you feel that going through the game today?
Yeah, I think the way the bowlers bowled yesterday really sort of set it up for us, and also the way they ran in this morning. It was a new ball wicket, so when it was doing quite a bit with the new ball. But the way the bowlers bowled yesterday, to bowl them out for 116 was a great effort. So
yeah, it's a consistency. When we play some very good cricket this season, we play good cricket at home, even though we've lost 4 games. It's just 1 or 2 sessions in a 4-day period that's really let us down and really put us under pressure.
They won by 5 wickets and so took 22 points home with them, a tally which sees them sneak up to 5th in the second division table, having won 3 and lost 3 of their 8 completed games to date. Next up, they go to leaders Lancashire a week on Monday. Gloucestershire collected just 3 points here and have little time to recover as they take on Surrey at the Oval from this Saturday.